If you treat people badly enough for long enough, eventually it's going to come back to you, no matter how big your platform is. And here we see this taking shape in the NBA subreddit. There's a post from 19 days ago announcement. Our NBA will no longer permit links to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And then it reads, effective immediately, our NBA will be banning links to Twitter as well as other social media platforms that require logins for their content to be browsed. And of course, it didn't always used to be this way. At one point in time, these platforms provided a great user experience. That's why they became so popular. But we're all aware of a familiar pattern that's emerged, and that is these platforms start off, everything's going well, they provide a great user experience, they provide value to the end user. But then over time, as they become more popular, as they grow their user base, they also grow more powerful. And then as they grow more powerful, they start to change some of the very things that made them popular to begin with. So maybe now it's more difficult to log in. Maybe to register, I have to include my cell phone number. Maybe now they're trying to push me to use the mobile app. I know this was the case with Instagram. At one point, I think it was difficult for me to even log in. And I don't even know if I could use it at one point just using a browser on desktop. But the point here is that they change over time to really create a horrible user experience. And then you have all of these people that are wondering, well, what am I doing here? Why do I keep using this? And I stopped using Twitter. I stopped using all these social media platforms so long ago, in part because of their privacy policies, and then also just because they're just a bad user experience. And I still maintain the account because they're popular and they can be leveraged for business and marketing purposes. But it really pushed me away. And here we see the final straw in a 15 million member subreddit where they're just stating we're not going with you anymore. And this is because and this was I think this is one thing I've already talked about this, and we're about to play a clip. I've talked about this over a year ago, but you could no it was a closed network. So Twitter created a closed network when really it was the open network that made it so great to use. And then they created a closed network and they made it difficult to access the content on the network. So in fact, let's go ahead and play the clip that I have from 2023, August of 2023. Oh, if you don't log into Twitter, you're very limited in what you can view. So Twitter profiles only show the most popular tweets now, not the most recent. So if you go directly to someone's profile, you can't see their most recent tweets. Also, Twitter comments can't be read unless you log in, only the original tweet. And the ultimate effect here is Twitter has become difficult to use. So now there are less views, there's less interaction. And of course, the play here is to force you to create an account and log in. But not everybody wants to do this. And I really think this is stifling the momentum that Twitter had with gaining viewership. It was a hub of news and discussion. And now it's really cutting that off. And so this closed system. Yeah, so I continue talking about the closed network. I'll link to this video in the description, but this is what was inevitable. Like eventually, if you created such a horrible user experience, people are going to stop using it because it's no longer what it was. And so now what's happening, and by the way, this banning of links, I don't know if I've already mentioned this, but this also happened in the NFL subreddit, which has 12 million members. But let's actually look. So there's a popular NFL reporter, and we see now that this is not a tweet. I don't know what it's called on Bluesky, but we now see a link to the Bluesky app. And if we go to the Bluesky app, here I've just got, I don't know what it's called, but I've got a tweet pulled up where I'm writing it, I'm composing it. And I write, this is actually easy to use because it is. The registration was simple, it was intuitive. Everything was easy. It wasn't closed. It wasn't difficult. I didn't have to go through several captchas to even access my account. I wasn't bombarded with notifications that were irrelevant, etc. So it's just easier to use and it's open and it's free. The content is there. So this is in stark contrast to Twitter, even though Blue Sky is such a close clone of Twitter. It's basically Twitter without the all of the obnoxiousness and the horrible user experience. And then so let's go to a subreddit. This is the Bluesky social subreddit. And by the way, I'll link to these posts in the description. But there's one comment here, and it reads, and this is from 23 days ago. Elon ruined a perfectly good, in quotations, platform, and another one emerged to replace it. It's that simple. It shows that if the right goes too hard to co-opt a platform, that eventually the people abandon it. He overstepped. It makes me worried because maybe they'll learn for next time. So he gets into politics here, but what I want to focus in on is this first part. He did ruin a perfectly good platform. Twitter was thriving. It was really starting to become a force in the marketplace and really get adoption. But then they went and they tried to force everybody to log in to use it, and a lot of people just wanted to look at the tweets, and so they didn't let the user base grow organically. They tried to force it. And now what is happening? Well, the market is saying, no, we don't want that. And it's going to be too late for Twitter. They've already instituted all of these bad policies, and through a series of measures, they've got this horrible user experience. And that's why this is now happening. That's why we have these announcements from these subreddits. And by the way, these announcements represent millions of uniques lost a month. So this is a significant change, but it was one that was inevitable, right? That's why I made this video, is that it's going to happen. Twitter was so big and still is, right? It's not like we're experiencing the downfall of Twitter, but we are seeing the fall of Twitter, and it's a result of all of these dumb decisions. That it doesn't matter how big Twitter is. If you start to treat people badly, and eventually it's going to become too much, and that's the point that we see being reached. And what I think is going to happen is, because now we have really what Twitter was near its inception, we have this other social media platform that does that does espouse the ideal of Twitter. I think we'll now see the adoption of the Bluesky app, and obviously it's already starting to be adopted, and you see it coming up more and more. I think this is going to continue, and I think that eventually, if everything continues, Bluesky is going to be bigger than Twitter.